All right. Mic check, mic check. Settling in. Let's go. What a day. What a day. Okay. Confirmation my mic is working. What's up, guys? Hope everyone's doing well. Rocking and rolling. I can't even. I'm still like, did this really just happen today? Is this really where we're at right now? Man, what a time to be alive, right? What a time to be a GameStop investor. Got the GameStop sweatshirt right here. You can check it out. See, boom. But pretty warm in here right now, so I'm not going to wear it, or I'm just going to be sweating like crazy, and don't want to be doing that. But thank you guys for tuning in. Whether you're watching this back, watching this live, appreciate it very much. So much to talk about today. There's literally so much to talk about. It's crazy. I got to get the chat going on the side here too. So much to talk about. Crazy. I thought GameStop was dead. Everyone forgot GameStop. How did this happen if everybody forgot GameStop? Isn't that crazy, right? I thought everybody forgot. And in the after hours, too. Look at this. Pushing higher in the after hours, but everybody forgot. If everyone forgot, how is this happening? How is this happening? Where are the bears? I should have messaged, like maybe DM some of the bears that were commonly commenting on my Twitter. It's so much to say. Why so quiet now? Why so quiet now? I was consistently bullish when things didn't look good. They don't want to be bearish when things don't look good for them. What's going on? Maybe we should call up Dan Olson, that clown, and be like, oh, let's come in. Oh yeah, instead, I'm so sophisticated. Oh yeah, these people, yeah, yeah. Bozo, absolute bozo. And then you gotta love the mainstream media. I just love, like, I posted a couple clips of it on Twitter. Economy examined, and just a tweet of Rory Kitty going like and they're like trying to explain it, and like the other one, the Bloomberg clip, they're like, "Oh, what does this mean, Jim? I don't know. All of a sudden, all these Reddit traders are in it, and they just have it wrong. They just have it all wrong." And of course, that's my opinion. You're always welcome to disagree. Full disclosure: I'm not in the business of giving financial advice, so do not go, "Oh my God, Tetron said this. Like, now I'm gonna buy into this or do that." Right? Please never ever do that. Never ever blindly follow anyone on the internet or anybody in general. Like, always do your research. Always do your due diligence. I've been following GameStop for a long time. I do love talking about it because I think it's just such a unique, epic story that's taking place in real time, and I'm lucky enough to document in real time, right? And if you look back at my channel, if you're new here, I've been talking about this for years now, so it's not like, oh yeah, I woke up today and suddenly I'm a big GameStop guy, right? But you see, like, all these like huge accounts, right? Like, you got like Dave Portnoy, you got like Andrew Tate, all, and even like the big accounts on Twitter that you just frequently see, all just talking about this all of a sudden, right? So it feels like January 2021 vibes, but I want to say right off the bat, temper your expectations, right? Remember to breathe in, breathe out. Be sure to look at the big picture, stick to what you know for thyself, in the sense, if you're a trader, stick to your trading plan. If you're a long-term investor, stick to your long-term goals. So try not to get caught up in all the noise. Like, it's very exciting, don't get me wrong, I'm fired up right now. I was fired up all day. It was incredibly difficult to work. In fact, it was incredibly difficult to sleep. Like, one, I had a lot of caffeine yesterday, which is probably dumb, but I had stuff. It was Mother's Day, so we are doing much stuff, and I had some stuff to do when I got home for this like course I'm taking for my job. So that didn't help. But then on top of it, I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to see what this thing opens at. And I woke up at 5 a.m. and I did go back to bed, but I was so tempted to check. But I was like, if I check this price right now, I'm literally never going back to bed. So I better wait until I wake up. Sure enough, by the time I get out of bed, it's already like 20% on the day, right? And this doesn't have the pre-market chart. You see the pre-market here. I think when I got out of bed, yeah, around 7:30. So it was right in here, and I was like, huh, would you look at that? And I saw this going down, and I get to work, and I watched this take place. And we're going to talk about this in a second, but look at this, already $36. The high of the day was 38, as well as, excuse me, the 52-week range. What a time. What a time to be alive. But yeah, just give it a second here. I get the chat open on the side. Just getting situated. Let's fucking go. Everyone in the chat. Gotta say hello to everyone, of course. For those of you that are new here, potentially, always catch everyone in the chat. I welcome the Bulls. I welcome the Bears. Welcome all, right? And I just like the stock. I like talking about it. And this is truly an epic journey. I really think that. And we'll get to see live what is the end of trading here, right? Look, it's already 19% of the after hours. Can we eclipse the, is that the right word there? The previous high of the day, but at 36 bucks, every month call will be in the money. Gamma ramp is crazy. You think this is fabled MOAS? Meagle, your words, not mine, right? But funny enough, I did bust out this old meme I saw a while back, which I thought was funny, and I was sending it to some of my friends today. But I want to be perfectly clear too. The MOAS to me, the mother of all short squeezes, that's by everyone's own. Everyone has their own definition of what they feel that to be. So you can determine what you really think the mother of all short squeezes is, at what point you think that is, right? But it's just the whole idea to me is a lot of demand for shares between short covering and a little bit of FOMO and very limited supply. And the limited supply comes from individuals directly registering, Ryan Cohen having a lot of shares, and people just continuing to buy and hold the stock, right? And I saw also like Peruvian Bull, I'm kind of jumping all over here, but he had put out like institutional updates, right? Like if you look here, it says compare current stats against May 7th to now, right? And today's May 13th. You could see the significant change in positions, right? In the institutional positions. I mean, also 9 halts today. That's what I was about to get into here. Truly remarkable, right? Because if you look at this chart here, like the 1 minute, look at this, guys. Like there was literally 9 halts. I think just all in this range. Like this was crazy. I was watching this at work and I was like, oh my god, I have to fake being sick today. No, I'm just kidding, but crossed my mind. I was like, family emergency. I'm sick. But no, I did not want to do something like that. As tempting as it is, because I would love to just stream all day long and talk about this. But fortunately, gotta work, right? I'm not anything special. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, I don't have to work or something like that. I'd love to just do YouTube and make content full time, but got a long way to go before I get there, right? So, doing what we can. See, it opens up here. We go from the I'm trying to like look at the candles, right? So you got the 9:30 a.m. candle, 9:31, 9:32, 9:33. And the first halt is here at 9:35. And we have this little jump goes straight to 9:40. And if you're looking at the bottom part of the screen, that's where you can see the timestamp. 41, 42, then boom, another 5-minute halt to 47. To 48, 49, boom, another halt to 9:54. Immediately 14, another halt, 14:05, right? And then you have this suspicious drop here, I would say, although you could also argue it's like a suspicious upward move here. And then 14:05 to 14:10, boom. 14:11, 14:12, and this is all, 9:13, 9:14, or sorry, 10:13, 10:14. This is all the first hour of trading in here, right? But you can see it almost better on the Yahoo chart. Like, oh my gosh, look at this, guys. 20% after hours too. Truly remarkable. And I just love the mainstream media trying to explain it. They're like, oh, yeah, Roy and Kitty tweets and OMG. Now AMC is going up because of that too, right? And AMC is just nonsense. Let me tell you. Just like January 2021, that stock's suddenly going up a lot. My personal opinion is that institutions are driving AMC's buying power for the most part. Yes, there's some individuals trading it on the way right now, but I think a lot of it is institutions just pushing, like, oh, look, they're both moving the same. They're both the same play, right? That's just my opinion, but look how choppy this chart here is, right? The Yahoo Finance chart just shows it better. Like, look how peculiar this chart is, like, and there's good amount of volume taking place here, but just these moves are so dramatic. And reason being, in my opinion at least, is the limited amount of shares available. With a limited amount of shares available, trading, like the spread between the bid and the ask becomes wider, and that causes these dramatic movements. And when it causes these dramatic movements, that triggers like a circuit breaker or all these halts. But then you look at AMC, like, oh yeah, like 0 halts for them today. So we've seen in the past 2 where they've halted at the same time. So that's a whole thing in itself. But let's hit the chat right here. Let's fucking go. Fresh Maker, thanks for being here. Yes, sir, dude. What a day. What a day. Hello, Manuel. Thanks for being here. Hope you're doing well. Oh, let's make sure we got all chat on. In case any of the Bears want to pull up, I'm always welcome to say hello to them. Fuck the crappy headphones. Hey, Fresh Maker, your words, not mine. But yeah, Kitty has nothing to do with the shit. They're just making shit up to blame him. Exactly, Namac. Exactly. You're definitely right. I want to be perfectly clear that I'm definitely in agreement with that. It's exciting to see him back and tweeting, but he's not the reason this stock is moving the way it is. The reason it's moving the way it is because institutions continue to bet against it, and some individuals as well. I'd really like to see what they have to say, but suddenly they've gone quiet today, these past few days. So I'm still here. Brett, me too, man. Me too. Never left. GME to the moon. Manuel, yes, sir. Gameshire Stopboy. I like that. I like that. Maybe I'll have to rebrand to that one day, right? In 2040, something like that. And even look, guys, look at the top right here. 24% after hours. Oh man, I think we're in for a big day tomorrow. I'm trying to temper my expectations. I'm trying not to get too hyped because something I've seen from being in this a long time, being invested in GameStop a while now, is always expect the unexpected. And in the times like this, we're going to see a lot of volatility, right? Like we see it go from like this huge gap up at the open all the way up to like 38, back down to like 27, kind of float and move sideways along the day to pretty much close just over $30. Although I will say it's pretty encouraging to see it kind of hold this like high 20s level, like the 27, 28 range. So it held up pretty well today. Obviously, after hours is looking really good right now, but again, after hours, I think you take with a grain of salt. There's very limited amount of what do you call it? Just like overall volume. So with or just a lot of the the books aren't as strong. Right? There's not as many bids and asks in there. So it's crazy. It's just crazy. I don't know. So many emotions for me right now. So many different things, but I'm trying to just keep a level head the best I can. Understand, I'm in this for the long term. Anything could happen tomorrow, both good or bad, and also expect suspicious things. That's my opinion, at least. You should be aware of suspicious things potentially happening, right? So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. And I saw computer share was down a little bit today, so that was also a little concerning. I'm not going to lie, but at the same time, you can theoretically execute an order by calling computer share and selling in real time if you need to, right? In a very, very dire situation. But what's an exit strategy? Am I right? Jimmy to the moon. GameStar stoplight. Oh, let's see. Long subscriber here since Mario's slugger stream. Anthony G, thank you so much, man. I really, really appreciate that. So great, man. Very, very thankful. Excuse me. See, you literally got me choking up, man. Emotional, but no, that's awesome. Thanks so much, and I love that you watched the Mario Super Slugger stream. I should do that again. Like that is the best Wii game, in my opinion. To this day, like not every single time, but sometimes if I'm just chilling with some friends, I'm like, yo, let's bust out the sluggers and have some beers, and it's always a great time, man. It's always a great time. But I'm glad you like that stream. I gotta do more videos like that. I even did like hot ones a while back, and that was a lot of fun. So gotta keep just branching out, doing different things. Like I love talking the stock. I love looking at economics and all that, but I really just want to make content because it's a lot more fun than working every single day. I know it's not that easy, and I have a long way to go, right? I have a long way to go. I'm definitely getting ahead of myself here, but thank you very much, Anthony. I really appreciate that, man. This kid is speaking facts. Namak, thank you very much. Appreciate you popping in here. We were hunkered down for a long play, fundamentals, and out of nowhere this happens. Roy and Kitty planned this from the start, had calls ready. Meagle, yeah, there's definitely speculation that this guy bought some calls recently. I mean, especially looking at the options chain, and it's pretty crazy looking at the options chain that right now, right, for May 17th, everything's going to be in the money because if you pull it up on here and look at this, it's literally all over the main screen of Yahoo Finance. Like, that's why I left this here. And of course, the giant article, right? Look, they got to blow it up, make it huge. GameStop surge is still a long way from the 2021's frenzy. Forget GameStop, forget GameStop. Look at AMC, look at this, DGT, BlackBerry. Like they started putting all these in there, right? Tagging with it. But look at this, GameStop. The whole options chain for this week is about to be in the money, and this is reminiscent of what we saw in January 2021 in a sense. So let's see. Options. Give you straddle. So every single call, right? When it's over. Oh, well, now more are being written. Okay. Before today. So 34. Well, these were written today, right? The 31, 32, 33, 34. I think. Well, no. Yeah, no, yeah, yeah. That was written today. So even more of the chain is being written out, right? Because that's just how it goes with market makers. That's how they operate. And right now, though, a ton of them, and maybe we have to refresh this, but look how many calls are in the money. 235,000 calls this week in the money. And all of these are looking like they're going to go in the money tomorrow if things continue the way they are right now in the after hours. So, and again, off after hours, not as much volume, so it causes a little bit more dramatic fluctuations, bigger spread between the bid and ask. But again, I think a big part of things happening is the limited amount of shares available and the high demand just makes the order books thin, so the price can really move a lot because there's not a lot of shares out there actually being sold. And we can go all into market fundamentals talk, right? And we're going to get into a little bit later talking about, swaps, how they work a little bit. January 2021, I got that pulled up here. I got it all ready for you guys. So I'll get into that in a few minutes, but let's keep going through the chat. Tetron, we're up near $6 after us. Let's go. Jackson's, thanks for being here, man. Thank you so much. It's crazy. It's actually crazy. I probably am repeating that a lot, but am I wrong? Am I wrong? It's great. Oh my gosh. Like I'm just in awe, it's also very much like January 2021 vibes. And again, temper your expectations, know thyself, keep focused as best as you can. Don't get caught up in noise to do anything dramatic, right? Just know what you want to do as an individual. I really, really do think that's important. But when I have people texting me today that don't normally text me about stocks, I don't know, hey, what's going on with GameStop? Even some coworkers I know, they're like, yo, what's going on with GameStop today? I'm like, yeah, it's a good day. Like, there's a reason I'm super smiley on this Monday. I came in too. Of course, it's busy at work today. On top of all this, and like the first two things I have to deal with are like an email and a voicemail of like an annoyed person, like separate situations. But I was like, you know what? It's Monday morning. Normally this would like be an annoying way to start the week, but no, there's literally nothing that can kill my mood when GameStop's ripping the way it is. So, man, yeah, what a day. What a day. I can't believe it's only Monday too. That's what's crazy to think about. It's literally only Monday. We don't even have a weekend until next weekend, right? Obviously, but oh my goodness. This is moving. Let's go. Anthony? Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir. AMC didn't have any halts either. Exactly. What is it? Davari Gaming. Thanks for being here. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think that's a little bit suspicious. It's a social sentiment algorithmic. These ape nuts. Thank you for being here. Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. There's definitely some FOMO going on here. I think that's definitely the case, when especially when I have people messaging me that aren't typically messaging me about GameStop or stocks, whatever the case. But when you look at like the way it's trending, right? Look at now, like I think this will be, excuse me, like up more tomorrow because like once today's like data goes in, or I'm not sure how fast this updates, but even if you go to like past 4 hours, right? Past 4 hours, it's been about the same. But the past 7 days, that's probably a good indicator. You saw today, this morning, like really a lot of people are looking it up, right? And it's kind of trailed off going to the end of the day here. But you know when they say when in doubt, zoom out, it's definitely the most we've seen in 12 months. And then look at the past year, 5 years time frame. Like we're not even really remotely to where it was in January 2021. And I also like, again, just speculating here. I feel like people are looking at this like, okay, like I saw what happened last time. Like I don't want to get burned and be jumping in too late. But if this continues throughout the week, people start to think, damn it, it keeps going, it keeps going. And again, this is why I don't trade, and I'm very thankful to have been accumulating a position prior to this huge move here, so I don't have to go in and rush to buy shares and stress like, oh, maybe I didn't get the greatest entry, right? And again, you got to do what's best for you as an individual. I can't speak for anyone else besides thyself, and that's why I keep saying like, and even this little short video I put out today, if you guys want to check that out after this, like just a minute, ran in the car real quick at work, I'm like, oh, I got to record this. I'm like, yo, stay calm, stay cool, stay collected, stick to your plan, know yourself. There's traders, there's investors, there's people that do a little bit of both. Stick to what you're doing and just keep a level head as best you can. That's definitely something I've realized over time, you know, even beyond GameStop, right? Just being more involved in markets and learning more and more. But also look at this, 500,000 searches. And of course, you see they got to throw AMC in there, of course, of course. But also, you know, I wonder, is this because I looked up GME? Maybe that's like altering this a little bit, but like, because I also like hockey, right? And it's like, okay, the Bruins are coming up as a second result, so I wonder if this tailors to me in some shape or form. But definitely, there's a lot of people searching it up. And again, another indicator is a lot of random accounts, like these big Twitter accounts talking about, even like the Twitter account like Greg165,000, whatever his name is. I'm sure you guys have seen him. Even he's tweeting about it. Like you have accounts like that, and I think that just goes to show you like the social sentiment that's building all of a sudden. And you do definitely have FOMO taking place. But again, I'm a long-term investor. I'm thankful to have been accumulating a position up until this point. So with that being the case, I can just keep my focus, right? Just keep my focus, keep documenting my journey, and also looking at this 1 month chart, you can see like it had this huge jump here, right? And there's less candles like when you look at the 1 month, right? Because this not as many for today. These are 30-minute candles. It seems to be holding up pretty well. And again, we're seeing what's happening in the after hours, but again, take it with a grain of salt because you never know what's going to happen. And yeah, we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see, right? I tend to say that, but am I wrong? We'll have to see. Let's go. 420 bonks, folks. Yes, sir. Thanks for being here. Wondering how the PPI read and JPAL talking tomorrow, then CPI on Wednesday affect this run if at all. The macro environment may shift negative markets wide. Anthony, very great points. Yeah, no, we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on that. I feel like I didn't even think about that at all today. I'm actually really glad you brought that up because I do try and keep up with that because I am trying to just know what's going on in the macro. But you're right, it will be interesting to see if it affects things one way or another. But honestly, I hadn't even put thought into that yet today because I was just so fired up. And like I said before, I was busy at work. So like I'm trying to focus. I'm trying to fire off tweets. I'm trying to keep up. I'm trying to watch the chart every second I can. Like anytime I'm calling someone, I'm like, please don't answer. Like let me just leave a voicemail. Just reply to my email. Like make our lives easier, right? Both sides of it. But yeah, and also looking here, you could see like max pain this week, price versus max pain, significantly higher for like the entire chain. So you have this kind of gamma ramp going on. And also, this week's max pain is currently at 12. It doesn't look like we're going anywhere near that at this point in time because, again, in the after hours here, you get $37.50. Even if we are just back in the lower 30s tomorrow, right? Not even close to this max pain. So, and you already see it here. Like all these options are already starting to be written. They're just loading up the chain even more. And I didn't even talk about the volume yet today, right? Like, look at the volume on the day. 180 million shares standing. Outstanding. Oh my gosh, I can't talk. Gotta breathe sometimes. Gotta breathe. 180 million shares traded. And what's crazy is like this run up in the morning, it wasn't even that much volume relative to the whole day. I mean, it was definitely a lot of volume, but I think it's about a third of the day's volume. Like you might expect just looking at this chart. Oh, yeah, like probably 160 million of it was in the morning, right? No, no, didn't take that much volume. And again, I think that's where the theory of the MOAS comes into play, right? In the sense it's a lot of demand versus a very limited supply of shares. That's the most basic definition of it. And again, I think it's good to leave it up for interpretation because it's a truly unique thing. And I also think GameStop is truly unique. In the past, I remember January 2021, that whole year after, oh, they're all going to MOAS. The whole basket's going to MOAS, right? And my opinion on the basket situation is I definitely think there are stocks grouped together, and especially when you like this is Archegos's filings or information about when Archegos went under, and you can see they have these swaps, right, with swap counterparty 5 and counterparty 6, but there's always two sides to it and huge nominal amounts in some cases, right? 333 million, 250 million, right? I mean, this is S&P down here, but here you have these like custom basket swaps, right? 1 billion, 500 million, 678 million. And people say, oh yeah, no, they look at the short interest at GameStop. You know, there's not as much as there was in January 2021. Yeah, they got caught with their pants and they got caught with everybody seeing like, oh, look, it's on paper over 100%. Now people look, oh, it's only 20 something percent, right? But look at a situation like Paramount Plus. Look at this huge run up, a huge crash. This absolutely had to do with these custom basket swaps in Archegos. And basically, Archegos was, in a very simple explanation, using the same collateral with like all their counterparties. And then they all realized, like, wait a minute, they don't actually have what they say. And they all raced for the door. And that's pretty much how Credit Suisse got stuck holding the bag. And then Credit Suisse became part of UBS now, right? And UBS taking over, I mean, it's not like they try and not talk about the details of it, but that was not something that was good for UBS. They were pretty much forced to do that, right? And Credit Suisse was huge, right? That's a ginormous bank that basically went under. It didn't technically, right? Because it got to the point where it was basically about to. And then UBS was kind of forced, in a sense, by like the Swiss government to just kind of swallow it up. And, you know, there's speculation that they were shorting GameStop as part of these custom basket swaps. Tossed the bag to Credit Suisse, tossed the bag to UBS, right? And then also today, E-Trade goes down. Why did that happen during this? Does it have any correlation? Maybe, maybe not. I can't help but think my tinfoil hat says it's quite suspicious. And then also, when you look at the dates here, right? January 2021, look at these, right? Look at these custom basket swaps. Huge amounts, right? 250 billion, 289 billion, 640 billion, 420, 400 billion. Huge, huge amounts, right? And we won't know what's in these custom basket swaps, right? Or maybe after this trial, something comes out. But as far as I'm aware, it's not ever going to come along. And then again, when you look at the the March run up, right here, huge amounts at the end here. And yeah, there's so much, like it's so hard to just summarize this whole story in just like one stream because there's just so much that has happened. Never forget the day with like, oh, if GameStop goes over $40, things could go parabolic, or 30 something dollars, whatever it was, right? And sure enough, when you zoom out on the GameStop chart, right, I can point to you exactly where that was. That was here, right here. It starts rallying out of nowhere and makes a huge jump and it crashes all. It starts the day at $31, runs all the way up to 35, closes the day, right? Because if you look at this candle, the starting point is here, right? That means it opened at $31. So it had a huge gap up overnight and jumps to like $35. And then when it intraday high is $35, closes the day all the way down at 28, right? And that's just one example of that where that took place. And you've seen that other situations here. Opens here in this case, goes all the way up, comes all the way back down. And I've kind of just been in this like falling wedge pattern. Shout out Badass Trader, Dorito of Doom. I'm sure you guys have seen that. This is really the first time we've significantly broke out of that, right? And this is the highest level GameStop's been since August of 2022. So almost 2 years at this point since it's been at this level. And again, post market now it's at 37. And again, can take the after hours with a grain of salt. I think that's the best way to go about it. But it's trending. Seems like there's FOMO taking place. You see the options chain being loaded up. And again, I'm not going to tell you guys like, oh, I know what's going to happen this week, or there's some magic formula to figure out exactly what's going to happen, or it's going to be all this, it's going to be all that. But I'm just saying, buckle up. Things are looking crazy, right? And again, the intraday high today was about 38.20. So we're not quite there yet in the after hours. But one thing I think you can know for sure, there's three things guaranteed in life: death, taxes, and GameStop's going to be volatile when there's a lot of people looking at it. So there's definitely going to be volatility tomorrow. I would not be surprised to see another 10 halts or whatever it was today, about 9 halts. I would expect a lot of trading halts. I expect another crazy start to the day. I expect choppy movement at some point or another. And I expect to be enjoying watching the whole thing and just enjoying the ride. That's for sure. Green-eyed banded elixir, green-eyed banded elixir. Cost was halted, no options, only 10 million shares in existence, half are owned by insiders, no news, had 19 million volume. Weird. No, that's definitely a good point. I appreciate you bringing that up. And that is what's strange to me, right? And there's definitely stuff that goes on with these baskets that's very suspicious. And you also look at ETFs and how they operate. But the bottom line is with swaps, like, it's very easy. This is what I've come to learn over time. It's very easy to not have reportable short interest, but you're betting against it, right? And then also with just naked options writing, that also is exposure. And again, I personally think people have been betting against GameStop, have consistently bet against it for years. So it's kind of like winding up, right? Or just, it's like a rubber band, I guess you could say, right? Do I have a rubber band here? Let's do it. This is how I view short interest, right? And what's been going on with GameStop. The rubber band's just been pulled back and pulled back and pulled back and pulled back and pulled back. And then it seems like we got to this point. Boom. It's kind of snapped now, right? But that's a very simple way to put it. And it's just like last time people saw like, oh, look, it's over 100% short interest. I see why this is. Now people are like, okay, the short interest isn't as high, but there's a lot of people buying it. How is it different than the last? And when I say people, I mean like just the average person looking at it today that maybe doesn't follow GameStop consistently. But I feel like anyone such as myself that's looked at this happen for a long time and is like, okay, like we've seen just a strange price action for so long, and we've seen just continuous negative articles, negative sentiment, forced association with these other names, right? And again, I think there could be some strange stuff going on with these other names, but not like GameStop. I think meme stocks are only a thing, right? Like the definition, meme stocks. Remember the SEC put out that stupid ass video of like basically making people look like idiots that are invested in GameStop, in my opinion. And my other opinion is there would be no such thing as something called a meme stock if there wasn't GameStop. Like the category of meme stocks would have never ever been established if it wasn't for GameStop. In my opinion, this idea of meme stocks by the mainstream media, you could say, was put out there to force associate GameStop with these other names and make it this whole category like, oh, it's always this group thing, right? And it's all these people going into all these different names, and they're all going to get burned, right? Because the other ones, like if you look at January 2021 to now, right? Or even let's say just the start of 2021 to now, like you look at GameStop versus AMC or any of these other names, right? Whereas like Bed Bath & Beyond went bankrupt. We can also do costs here too, right? So let's do a 5-year range. In comparison, AMC. Comparison, 96% down, literally negative 96%. And then we could do BBY. Oh wait, they're not even around anymore. We could do costs. That's the other one we said. We could do BlackBerry. But just look at how GameStop's held up relative to them, right? Yes, okay, you could say cost has done 100%, right? But look how much better GameStop has. And then let's say you do a custom range of 5/14, 2021, right? Since May, 3 years ago. Look at GameStop's performance versus these other names. Or I don't know why the other ones don't want to come up here right now, but my whole point being though, that these other names are thrown with it only because GameStop is what it is. That's my opinion. I really, really think that's why this whole idea of meme stocks is put out there. Because otherwise, it's like, who cares? Why would they keep talking about it? And another example is when January 2021 was said and done, they're like literally, it's like literally paid ads on Twitter saying like, yes, shorts closed, right? And why would you need to advertise that? Who cares, right? Like, who would care? Like, why would that matter? And again, you can think what you want about all this information. I'm just throwing it all out there for you guys. It's all food for thought. You know, I want everybody to think individually. I want to be perfectly clear. Like, everyone watching this is their own individual investor and has their own way of going about things. And that's really, really important. But I think just a lot of people see like how this game works, how much bullshit goes on, how long this type of stuff has been going on. And it's crazy. It's just crazy. And I'm just blessed to be part of this journey. And that's why I started talking about GameStop, because I'm like, you know what? This is too incredible of a story to not talk about. People are interested in this. I want to talk about it. Why not? Right. And then Roaring Kitty coming back out of nowhere. I honestly did not expect that. And I do fear a little bit that, and already you see it, right? Like the media saying like, oh yeah, like this rally is because of Roaring Kitty, right? And he's putting all these memes like every 30 minutes today. And again, for those who weren't here before, it's just comical. Like they put this already exit out, but like I tweeted it on my profile. Like they basically put like economy examined. They're putting this tweet like, oh my god, it's making it happen, right? But I do fear for him that maybe, you know, they're going to start to say like, oh yeah, you know, like he caused this rally, like we got to sue him. But what are they going to say? Like he posted memes and the stock started rallying. Like how could that be your reasoning? Like it would just make absolutely no sense. So I think that's why he's not going to live stream. Some people are speculating, oh, do we get like a Roaring Kitty live stream? I don't think so, because I think that like he could get sued. Like he legit could get sued. Look, he wound up on Capitol Hill having to testify when he was simply just. I mean, that was legendary testimony in hindsight, right? He's like, I am not a cat. I like the stock. Iconic, absolutely iconic. I love that shit. But what I'm saying is, make sure all these are paused. I don't want any background sounds for you guys. But what I'm saying is, he can't say anything really. He can only kind of communicate like this because that he'll get blamed. Like there's such a spotlight on him, right? Like look how much this tweet got alone. 21 million impressions. This is his first tweet since June 18th, 2021. Almost 3 full years. So he can only meme around. Like he really can only meme around. And you know, you could speculate on what they mean, and like I know a lot of people are looking at like what some of them mean and like what movies they're from and stuff like that. You got this one here, like the standoff, and then where was it? The Peaky Blinders one, right? Was the last one. Oh, 4 minutes ago. Look at that. The kitty
It
had
had
taken
previously occurred to me
that
the gypsy had taken the demise.
Let's see. The kitty had taken the demise of his stock rather lightly. Let's see. Okay, for every action, there's a reaction. That's very true. And a pikey reaction is quite a fucking thing. Bang, bang, bang. Here we go. It's exciting, right? But I'm just saying, like, you shouldn't look too much into it, and also you have to understand, right? He probably can't. Let's go out of the bang. Look at that. He probably can't say anything because he would get sued. I really do think that's potentially what's going on here. But also, I wonder if why is it like suddenly he could tweet again? Was there some kind of like cease and desist or just something like some kind of gag order where he wasn't allowed to say anything or wasn't allowed to tweet, and now he's technically free to, but he has the perspective of like, okay, I can tweet, but I better be careful because then they're going to come right back at me with lawsuits, right? In some shape or form. And by the way, guys, after hours trading has come to a close today because it is 8 p.m. Eastern now. So in the after hours, you know, GameStop has gone to 36.90. So we'll see where it opens tomorrow. If I wake up in the middle of the night again, I think I might just have to check my phone. Although I might not go back to sleep, and then I'm going to wind up being up from 5 a.m. and I don't want that. And on that note of tomorrow, I'm gonna be doing a space. I really haven't done too many spaces. I've kind of popped in here and there, with just some miscellaneous people talking about things. But White Rabbit 741, I'm sure you guys know him. You've seen him on X/Twitter, whatever you want to call it these days. He invited me, and he's gonna be the host of the space, and I'm gonna be on there. Mostly listening because I like to hear other people's perspectives, and I'll just share some of what I think because that's what I do, and I think it's good for other people too as well. So be sure to join on that tomorrow, 6:30 Eastern time. Spaces call on X with White Rabbit and many more that you guys I'm sure recognize. So here we go. Let's go. Funny Spider, thanks for being here. Congrats to us, GME Elitist. Funny Spider, yes, sir. I'm a GME Elitist, and I'm absolutely proud, right? And it's funny, people, oh, you can never, like any other stocks, or like that, or anything like that. I'm like, no, that's not true. I believe in cybersecurity stocks. I think that industry, like just as one example, is going to succeed very much as long as AI is developing and everything's becoming more and more online. Cybersecurity is ever evolving. Criminals are ever evolving in how they're attacking with cyber attacks. So cybersecurity has to continue to evolve. So there's always going to be demand for that. I also believe in Bitcoin because I think it's an emerging alternative asset class. I think inflation is going to be a continued problem. I slightly believe in gold, but definitely not as much as Bitcoin. Like I don't think gold's like the worst play in the world for storing value over time. But I would much rather own Bitcoin personally, but also I'm a young individual. I'm 23 years old, about to turn 24 next month. I don't know why I went like this. This is not 24, but crazy to be turning 24. Time flies. I'm sure some of you listen. It's like, bro, are you serious? Like, sorry, didn't mean it like that. But point being, I do have perspective on other things and interest in other things, but nothing like GameStop. And I definitely own the most GameStop, and I think it's risk versus reward. It has the most upside. And again, I have a pretty strong risk appetite, and I don't like just short-term trade. I just buy and hold for the long term. And with all that being said, I think just GameStop's a unique story, and it's more than a unique story. There's like some of the things I've talked about, with the swaps and just the whole history of it, right? It's just truly unique, and I see the perspective, and that's why I just buy and hold. But what I'm trying to say is the term, like, oh yeah, I would say like, yeah, I'm a GME elitist. I'm a GME elitist in the sense like I don't care about the other basket stocks. Again, I think there could be something going on with swaps, and then they get involved in them, and yes, that's why some of these stocks move at the same time. But I also think partly these hedge funds, in some shape or form, start aggressively buying those other positions to kind of make it move with GameStop one way or another. So and that's where I think these terms meme stocks come. So I would still say yes, by definition, in my definition, is GME elitist. But some may argue, right? But at the same time, is it a stock elitist like a real ass thing? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's so funny how these things get made up, and people like argue like, oh, what's the definition of MOS? What's the definition of a GME elitist? What's the definition of a meme stock? And it's like, this is like Fugazi, Sawazi, Sawoozy. You know what I mean? Crazy, but I'm just fired up, guys. I'm just happy to be here. Happy you guys are with me tonight, and what a time to be alive. That's all I can really say. Let's go, Tetron. Dear SGME, thanks for being here, man. Is Tupperware part of the basket? Green Eye Bandit Elixir? I don't think so. As far as I'm aware, it's not. Let's see its movement today, though. Because, yeah, well, look at that. It has a dramatic move today, but what's interesting is, like, I don't remember it in January 2021 doing anything dramatic, right? Like, yeah, it made this move from 2020 to late 2021, so maybe. And then I remember this like spike out of nowhere, so potentially, right? Or I think it's more so one of those situations where hedge funds are just starting to flood money into all these other companies, right? And whether it be like collateral against it in some shape or form, I don't know. That I couldn't tell you, right? But I do speculate like why these stocks go up at the same time. Like I think part of it is like the basket aspect, but I also think part of it is just flooding money into these other names. Like, oh look, all these other meme stocks, right? And then also there's money for them to be made in trying to front row those in a sense. So again, all just speculation here. Please make your own opinion. Don't just blindly listen to me. I'm just calling it as I see it. I'm not always going to get everything right, but I'm always going to do my best to tell you guys if I get something wrong. Like in the past, I'm like, okay, like I made a mistake here. I want to correct it. So I'm always working to be better. I can promise you that. I'm always going to promise to put out the best information as possible. But again, don't blindly follow me. You shouldn't blindly follow anybody on the internet. That's just facts. Like, you got to do your own research. You got to look into things. You got to hear out the other perspective, right? And that's why I say I welcome the Bulls. I welcome the Bears, because bring on the Bears, right? I want to hear their perspective. I want to be able to dismiss it. If I like GameStop that much and I want to invest that much in GameStop, I have to be able to dismiss the bear case, right? You can't just shy away from it. You don't want to get like stuck in a complete echo chamber. But at the same time, when the Bears just say the same things and you dismiss it, and they're like, yeah, then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make fun of you a little bit, right? Like, if you want to clown around, I'm all right with that. But let's get back in the chat here. Dave Portnoy FOMO'd in. Dearest GME, I'm almost like nervous because of that, right? And sorry, I'm taking off my socks. I'm sweating, yo. But too fired up right now. Get myself too fired up. But yeah, I don't know. Dave Portnoy buying in. Paper Hands Portnoy, almost a little bit like, ooh. Let me see. Did he put it out? Let's see what he put. Paper Hands Portnoy. What's he got to say? Let's see. Hey pal, I'm on both. Oh no. Oh god, no. I don't know. Want to get nuts? Everyone go to let's get nuts. Every time I think I'm out, they pull me back in. Oh my gosh. TTDG breaking news. Let's hear this.
All right, TDTG alert, breaking news.
Alert.
I can't fucking miss a fucking 50-year storm. You want to fucking party? Let's fucking party.
Oh
$500,000 got in at 520 on
okay, 520.
AMC, 3040 on GameStop.
All right, you guys get the point. I will, because I don't want to get like I would do like revenue sharing because it's not your video or whatever, right? And not that I'm making all this money from YouTube, right? But whatever I can get. It's more money for me to invest, right? And that's just how I do it. But hey, pal, I'm on both. See, of course he's a hold. He's a I hold bother. SMH Portnoy, right? Paper Hands Portnoy. But I'm almost like, ooh, I don't know. Maybe that's bad, right? But at the same time, it's another person buying the stock. Can that really be a bad thing? We'll see if he holds it or he paper hands again. It'd be pretty funny if it dips tomorrow, he sells, and then it just rips right after, right? Wouldn't that be so funny? Like, I don't know. I don't have anything against Dave, by the way. I just think it's funny, right? But I'm for the memes, guys. Just like, I love the stock, but I'm always down for a good troll and just having fun. So again, take what I say with a grain of salt. Like, you don't want, I'm not here to tell you like, oh, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. I'm here to document the journey, share my perspective on things, right? Oh, let's see this supposed news event. Oh, classic. If you invested $1,000 in GameStop when Dumb Money was released in the movie theaters, here's how much you'd have today. Why do they always write these articles? It's crazy. They always say that, right? They just pick the most particular time. Well, if you had bought at this exact time, here's what you'd have today, right? Like, bro, yeah, I could just pull up a chart if I want to see that. Like, I don't need a whole article for that, but 10 notches higher. Leroy Jenkins, 420 Blanc Smoke. Thanks for being here. I think I already said that, but dude, because you've said it in the past, you're always my indicator. Drink water. Gotta drink some water right now. It's probably why I'm sweating. Get myself so fired up. Really, guys, on a side note, drinking water is so important, right? I saw some survey once, and again, takes a grain of salt. Just some survey I saw, right? I didn't see like all this scientific evidence about it, but I think if you think about it, just in simple terms, it makes sense. It's so important to hydrate a lot every single day, right? Because just hydrating is important, and your body needs water, right? Your body needs fuel. So I really think just hydrating a lot is really good for you. It just helps you feel better, right? I've noticed when I just drink a lot of water every single day, I just feel better. Maybe it's just a mindset thing, but stay hydrated, guys. Stay hydrated. It's important. We're in Kitty Tweet. Yes, sir, dear SGME. Yes, sir. Let's see. Is there another one? And I want to react to them, but I don't know. I don't know exactly how I feel about them, right? So, like, make no mistake, it's not revenge he's after, okay? It's a reckoning. You tell him I'm coming, and hell's coming with me. You hear? I like it. Hell's coming with me. It's actually epic because I love watching playoff hockey and they put that shit on. I'm like fucking fired up right now. But remember, Ihor and his whole S3 Partners organization changed the way they calculated short interest after 2021 sneeze, so you can't trust him or Ortex either. Very good point, Anthony G. Absolutely a good point. Definitely Ortex I don't trust. I forgot exactly the situation with them, but I remember something had once, and I was like, okay, suspicious, never trusting that again, right? He literally just tweeted, "Let's fucking go, yo, this is crazy." I probably am still just catching up. I apologize, guys. Sometimes I get too fired up in speaking, and yeah. Oh yeah, I already went through this one. That's right. But it's funny. As I was going through the other ones, right? Look at your notifications, Tetron. Tetron, there's a new tweet. Oh my god. All right. Here we are. I'm finally here. Boom. Candles. DF Value going ham. Yes, sir. I love the dude, but his comeback is a bit weird in my opinion. Chris, thanks for being here. No, I mean, listen, I get that. I definitely get the perspective of like, oh, like why is he coming back now, right? But I think there's a reason or another, right? But at the end of the day, we can't choose. He chose to come back at this given point in time, so that's really all it is. And when you see this tweet about the no fighting thing, I think part of it is like just respect other people's opinions a little bit. And there's definitely been some I would say commotion like in the I don't like to use the word community, right? Because I think everyone's an individual investor doing what's best for them and they just all like the same stock that is GameStop, but it's okay to disagree in some senses. I'm not getting into any drama. I'm not in the business of that, right? Like I try to see what's going on with some things. Maybe you guys know what I'm talking about, maybe not. And I don't know all the details, so I don't want to formulate like a specific opinion and talk bad on anyone or anything like that. But I just know GameStop is GameStop and focused on them. And one other thing I haven't talked about yet is supposedly they're getting into trading cards. I don't trust anything until GameStop themselves says it, but supposedly they're going to get into trading card grading, right? Or you're going to be able to sell your card to GameStop and then basically they're going to resell them online. So they're going to be able to make money on that. But also if someone wants to sell quick, right? Like I have right here, this one particular card, which I was really lucky to get it at a low price. And I'm pretty sure it's worth way more now, right? So I got it for $36 on March 1st, 2020. And I remember I wrote this. And I was buying and selling these a little bit previously. Like, because I've tried every entrepreneurial thing you could think of. I've probably tried at some point when I was younger, right? Like I used to love Shark Tank, and I've tried every trading strategy you can think of, but these days I just buy and hold for the long term, right? I've tried forex, I tried options, I tried day trading crypto, everything, man, everything. I've tried it, but I'm lucky enough where I was trying it at a point when I didn't have not a lot of money. I was a young, like dumb high school kid, early college kid, and I made my mistakes early, and I was able to grow and realize like what's best for me. And I realized like trading's not for me. But moving on from that, right? Aaron Judge card. So if this is going for like 250 online, I might be able to bring this to GameStop. I need a quick couple bucks. They would buy it off me for like 150. They turn around and sell it for 250, right? Obviously, I as an individual want to sell it for the most I can, but there's definitely situations where people that just want to sell it quick, they don't care about the process of selling it online. And GameStop could kind of take on the responsibility, so to speak, of like confirming the card's valid, getting it to the individual safely, right? And just basically becoming an exchange for trading cards that are graded, right? So I'm sure you guys maybe have seen that out there. Maybe you haven't. Supposedly they're getting into that, but again, until GameStop says it, I don't trust it. So last point, for all the new people on the journey, volatility ahead. Look at the 1 minute chart from 3/10/2021. The kind of shenanigans could see, have a plan, follow it. Exactly, Anthony. Exactly, man. Got to keep catching up on the chat here. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. This feels good knowing hedge funds are crumbling. Massey, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, when you look at some of the suspicious things that go on, I'm like, you know what? Screw them, man. Screw them. Tetron out here spreading the good word. Joseph Prendergast, thanks for being here, man. Thank you. I'm trying my best, too. I'm trying my best. Like I said, just documenting my journey. It's epic, but because I can. So what's up? What's up? Because you can. That's why you're here. Thanks for being here. Is it worthwhile investing right now? Malachi, great question. That's ultimately a decision for you to make as an individual. Like again, I don't want to tell anyone what to do. You really got to determine, is this what I want to do? And for me, I always look at it as like risk versus reward, like upside versus downside, right? And also knowing your risk tolerance. Like this thing, right? 36.90, it could gap up tomorrow morning by the market open. It could be at $40, and then by 10 a.m. it could be back down at 30. And if you're like, oh my god, that would make me sick, and then I would sell, it's probably not for you, right? So you got to know yourself. Think about yourself as an individual and how you would go about it, right? And what is in line with your like principles and beliefs. So it's really up to you to determine. But ultimately for me, I focus on the long term. I look at risk versus reward, and I'm very fortunate again to have been accumulating shares for several years now. So that's just me. But popped in to support you, bro. Don, I appreciate that, man. I really appreciate that. Because listen, I get it. Not everyone's going to be at every stream. Not everyone's going to be able to, like every tweet, see everything I do. But anytime you guys are hanging out with me, I'm very, very greatly appreciative of that. I want to be clear. It is a big risk. Or yes, it's worth it. We're still gonna game ramp. The squeeze is yet to come. Alina, your words, not mine. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of options being written, right? We went over that right here. Just tons of options being written into the chain for the rest of this week. It is a big risk. I feel like putting in as much money as possible. I like to see if you've made money today. Fresh Maker, thank you. Appreciate that, man. If you guys could drop a like, I'm very, very appreciative of that. That would be great. You think it will surpass the all-time high? Malachi, another great question. Honestly, if things keep going the way they're going, it seems like we're on track to potentially be at a new all-time high in a month or so, right? Again, I take that with the utmost grain of salt. But it seems like, right? If you look back here, this is like the kind of vibes like you're kind of seeing this initial similar move. I mean, it's never going to be like exactly the same, right? They say history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. It feels like we're rhyming in a sense right now, but there's definitely a lot of different factors now, right? Like right now, there's 25% of the shares directly registered in individuals' names, outside of brokerage accounts, outside of the name of Seed and Co. But also, now the public short interest isn't as high. And to me, that's not as meaningful, but to the average person, maybe looking in, trying to just make a quick trade on it, maybe it is. But also, then again, you see someone like Portnoy just hopping in, right? And do people with that kind of following, do people also hop in? Like, do Andrew Tate's like loyal followers start buying in? Do Dave Portnoy's followers start buying in? I don't know. That's all for you to have to determine, but definitely FOMO and the options chain is only going to drive it higher, right? And again, that's my opinion. I want to be perfectly clear. These are all my thoughts and opinions. I'm not here to tell you like, oh, this is going to happen or that's going to happen. But what I can tell you is, earnings or Q1 earnings will be around a month from now. Usually it's like the first or second week of June they come out with it. So, that will definitely factor into things at that given point in time. But obviously, we have a lot of time between now and then. But what I will say is if you are a shareholder right now, make sure you vote. Make sure you log in your brokerage account and you vote. Make sure you log into Computer Share and you vote. Every single vote matters. And that's a whole other conversation itself. But be sure to vote. Be sure to vote. Seems to be really quiet about the meme stocks today. Green-eyed Bander Elixir? Yeah, man. Hey. Are you really surprised though? Like, and like I said before, like, where is it? Just the main or just the Yahoo Finance page, right? It's like they don't want it to get too much social sentiment, right? But that's also the power of just individuals talking about things, people with a platform talking about it. It just spreads, right? Without mainstream media. It used to be like only way you found out about things prior to the internet and just social media, like individuals reporting on things and talking about things and being respected in certain categories. That it would only be like what the media says. So now, like, I really feel like, especially since January 2021, media distrust has gone up like tenfold. Like, I feel like people already were starting to distrust the media, beyond financial media, just media in general. But I feel like very much so since January 2021, like the trust has gone down even more, and people look to other people online to know what's going on and like a realistic like take, right? Like I try and keep it real with you guys and give you like a real ass take of what I think is going on. And again, I'm not saying like, oh yeah, like this is definitely what it is or like what's going to happen, but they're like, oh, it's certainly going to go down. Forget GameStop. Oh, these idiots. Right? Like they just spew bullshit. Like, so that's why I think less and less people look at them. And also, you look at it now, right? Like it's all over the front page of it, and the biggest article in the biggest spot, right? GameStop surge is still a long way from 2021's frenzy. A closer, let's read the whole thing, right? Here we are. Why not? Solomon, need to deal with U.S. debt, right? Like this is a separate thing, but and we don't have to we don't have to watch the video. We don't need to give them that satisfaction. GameStop Corporation shares more than doubled on no fundamental news. Short sellers are getting squeezed and retail traders using same-day options to amplify gains and otherwise beaten down stocks. Nonsense crypto coins adding more than 1,000%. See, just group it all together, right? That was Monday, but it could just as easily describe early 2021 when the meme stock frenzy captured the popular imagination and day traders set stocks on inexplicable wild rides. However, a closer look at the magnitude and zaniness back then shows how much further the latest meme mania needs to go to match the original. In the first go around 3 years ago, GameStop soared more than 1,000% in a few days as retail traders took to Reddit's Wall Street's Bets forum to rally the Wall Street bigwigs who were short stock. Today, the Reddit raiders, quote, once flush with time and cash from a pandemic era stimulus and work policies, are largely back to work and bearing the burden of higher interest rates. Some got in late, even with the latest surge, are sitting on losses. Really? Really? They are? After hours? I don't think so. In addition, traders with an itch to gamble now have a bevy of choices for wagering. Casinos and racetracks were closed down back then due to COVID, leaving stocks as the main game in town. Since then, gambling has gone mainstream. Anyone who wants to place a bet can basically get action on any game they want from a few clicks on their phone. Professional short sellers have also largely given up on taking aim at the companies with relatively small share floats, worried that the power of social media could fulminant squeeze and volumes in short-dated options while still evaluated or nowhere near the levels in changes one. There's always blips. They're like solar eclipses. They happen and then they go away for a long time. And then they happen again, says Peter Atwater, president of Financial Insights and Justin Professor at William Mary. But if you look at them, they always appear the extreme sentiment. So I think that's enough right there, right? But I'll break this down little bit by little bit. So shares more than doubling on no fundamental news. That is true. Short sellers are getting squeezed, and retail traders using same-day options. Short sellers are getting squeezed. That is true. Retailers using same-day options. No, there's not same-day options for GameStop, right? Look, May 17th, there's weekly options. There's same day for SPY, right? Nonsense crypto coins adding more than 100%. Yes, but that has nothing to do with GameStop. And one could speculate that that may happen at the same time for one reason or another, right? That's just one speculation. That was Monday, but it could just as easily describe early 2021 when the meme stock frenzy captured the popular imagination and day traders sent stocks to implicable wild rides. And in the first go around 3 years ago, soared more than 1,000% in a few days as retail traders took to Reddit's Wall Street Bets forum to rally against Wall Street bigwigs who were short the stock. Today, Reddit raiders, once flushed with time and cash from a pandemic era stimulus and work policies, are largely back to work and bearing the burden of higher interest rates. Some got in late and even with the latest surge are sitting on losses. But what they don't understand is there's a ton of people who have just consistently bought the stock. I'm one of many, right? And I'm not saying I bought any more or any less or I'm special in any way, right? That's not what I'm trying to say, but I'm just saying there are definitely a lot of people like me that have just bought and held this stock consistent, right? Just dollar cost average in. Just buy one share every day, one share every week, one share every month, right? Whatever the case, just consistently buying the stock. And they just dismissing that fact here as if that's not happening. But when you look at directly registered shares, like that alone is 25% of the shares outstanding directly registered, right? And things that go on with that and how that's reported, that's a whole conversation itself, and it's arguably skeptical. But there's also a ton of people who choose not to directly register shares. And with that being the case, they wouldn't even be accounted for in that, right? So moving on to, in addition, traders with an itch to gamble, right? They try and like just say it's, oh, it's gambling, right? It's meme stocks. Oh, it's all just gambling. Casinos and racetracks were closed back then due to COVID, leaving stocks as the main game in town. Since then, gambling has gone mainstream. Anyone who wants to place a bet can basically get action on any game they want from a few clicks of their phone. So they're trying to say like, oh yeah, like it could never rally as high as January 2021 again, right? Because that was a different time. People were gambling and people wanted to gamble. They were itching to gamble. They had to. So they just decided to on GameStop stock. They had to, right? That could not happen now because now the people that are itching to gamble, they're betting the Carolina Hurricanes money line tonight, right? Because fuck the Rangers. But no, I'm just kidding. But right, that's what they make it sound like here. And professional short sellers have largely given up on taking aim at companies with relatively small share floats, worried that the power of social media could foment a squeeze. Volumes in short-dated options, while still elevated, are nowhere near the levels seen in 2021. Yeah, but this is also only the first day of the week, right? It's very early in the week, number one. And number two, we know with custom basket swaps, short interest could be very much suppressed, right? That's what took place here, all the way up and all the way back down, right? And we know for sure Paramount Plus was one of the major positions for Archegos when they went under, and they were levered up on it, or they were shorting it, right? Was that what it was? And then they bought it back. But regardless, they were the reason these stocks moved. See, look, same exact time Warner Bros. Discovery, same thing happens, right? And it's these basket swaps, these custom basket swaps that blew up, right? Right at the end here. See, look how many, like, look also this, right? Like the highlighted ones are the custom basket swaps. So you can see here when you're originally scrolling through, like the dates are going up and up and up, and you see there's not that many custom basket ones, right? And then November 2020, you see some of the first ones, some very large ones, right? Especially this one. And then you see it pop up again towards the end of December. And then really the very last 2 days of December, 2020, and then early 2021, right? Look how many custom basket swaps there are. Just an endless amount, right? And going and going. It's so many that they had to just basically kind of just keep tossing the bag. Okay, well, I'm going to swap this. I'm going to move that, right? Like, oh, swap this, swap that. And when you have all that taking place, Warner Brothers and Paramount Plus never had a dramatic amount of short interest reported. So it just shows you how it can be suppressed and cause like these dramatic moves when there's custom basket swaps involved. So yes, while right now publicly GameStop shares are only short at 27%, there's a lot of other ways people that want to bet against the company can without it just being simple like public short interest information, right? It's just so much deeper than that. And that's also something I've learned over these past several years, and many other individuals know much more than me about this, how deep the functionality of the market goes and how it really works and how the reporting works and all these little technical things that you can alter in any such way to make things look one way or another, right? And again, you could speculate on that, you could research on that, on what you think it is or isn't in whatever scenario, but there's definitely ways to make things look funny. I guess that's the best way you could say it, right? Gotta remember to breathe, guys. Gotta remember to breathe. So fired up today. There's nothing weird about his comeback. He knew GME was in a cycle and he waited patiently until the bottom was in. We only go up now. Higher low and higher high every week. DB, I like that, man. I like that. All mega cap stocks went through this before they become mega cap. Very good point. Definitely a very good point. My strategy is to buy and hold GME forever. Ben, thanks for being here, man. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I like that strategy. I'm 58 years old and I stopped trusting the media when I was a 17-year-old. Clark, I definitely respect that, man. I absolutely respect that. Mainstream media is our enemy. Could not agree more. Could not agree more. It's okay to agree to disagree. And, there's always going to be, oh, this side or that side. And you could debate, but really, people have to understand it's like individuals versus the big dogs, right? It's the simplest way to put it. And I hate to say like us versus them, because again, I think it's all about individual investors and everyone has their own perspective and way they go about things. And them, right? Who's this magical them? But you can just see like it doesn't necessarily have to be the same, like, oh yeah, like they're calling each other to do this, oh I'm gonna do that too, oh yeah, like all the super like wealthy like hedge fund managers necessarily, right? It could happen, right, theoretically, but it's not even that. It's like if you just have mutual interests where it's like, oh, if I'm doing this and then they do it too, like they can just see like, okay, well they're doing this and we're also doing this, so it's good for both of us if this certain thing happens. So in that sense, right, like it can kind of be moved one way or another, you could say. Like, so that's why I don't think like people think when you say, oh, them, right, like, oh yeah, who's this magic them, right? It sounds like conspiracy bullshit. No, it's they have like-minded interests and similar intentions and they just correlate, right? And if they correlate, like I don't think I'm explaining that perfectly, but yeah, I just take everything, especially now with AI, and even videos soon are going to be AI. It's going to be so hard to know what to believe, right? Seeing is not even believing anymore. So it's just a crazy world out there, right? And I have this cool ass picture. I should try and pull it up, but I don't know where it is right now on my computer. I generate so I love AI for like the AI image generators for asking it about specific scenarios to get perspective. Not that AI is always perfectly right. Like I'm not like, which stock should I buy? How high is GameStop going this week, right? You don't put stuff in like that, but like explain this in simple terms. Grammar corrector improve this email. Or I'll put like generate an image of an AI genie coming out of a bottle. And right, that's what I think AI is. Like the genie's out of the bottle. There's no putting it back at this point, right? I say it's the coolest, but it's also the scariest thing at the same time because if you look at the people who are in control of like OpenAI and some of these other platforms, right? That they get to really dictate the direction at which AI goes. It's like, okay, that's a little scary. Like, what if it gets out of hand? Again, the genie's out of the bottle. There's no going back. So sometimes when I'm asking AI something, right, I'll be like, please grammar correct and improve this email. So if the robots take over, I could be like, listen, I was polite to you. Check the chat history, right? I was always saying please and thank you, Chat GPT, right? But jokes aside, guys, jokes aside, yeah, AI is very cool, but very scary. What's up, Tetron? Good evening, everyone. Sub has the boss. Thanks for being here, man. Hope you're doing well. Appreciate you popping in. My strategy is Moas or Mom's Couch. Green-eyed bandit elixir. Hey, I like that. That's all you, man. But check BB. Blackberry don't sleep. Oof, oof. I'm not interested in that, honestly. But I'll look at it just because you bring it up here, right? But again, I was saying before, I think GameStop is the one and only in terms of being the some would say, right? Not me. Some would say the idiosyncratic risk, right? Or the one that is different. And again, make your own determination on whether you believe that or not, or what you believe to be and why you believe it to be, right? Again, I'm not in the business of telling anyone how to think. Simply just documenting what's going on in real time and sharing my perspective on it. It doesn't mean I'm right. I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm trying to do the best I can, absolutely. And I'm never going to try and just spew bullshit. But I do accept that I can make mistakes, right? I'm human. So you got to do your own research, got to take it into your own hands to go about things in the way you want to determine what you want to believe and how you want to go about investing or just anything in general, right? Again, because on the internet now, literally seeing isn't even believing anymore. There could be a video and like with Sora coming out, the AI thing, soon there's gonna be videos where like I don't even know if that's real. Like maybe that was just AI generated, and it's crazy. Absolutely nuts, so. But yeah, let me drink water. It's absolutely out of breath, and definitely I'll be keeping an eye because again, I don't know how often this Google Trends like updates, but relative to January 2021, the search interest is not high. Like if you look at this 5-year chart from where it peaked out at. So again, I don't know how much it updates, but it seems like we're not even there yet in terms of like FOMO or as much FOMO as we saw in January 2021, but it's a long week ahead. I'm like so excited for like 9:30 a.m. tomorrow already, right? Like, can I just close my eyes and it's 9:30 a.m. tomorrow? That'd be great, right? Maybe I'll go to bed early, but probably not. I'm too fired up right now, guys. Too fired up. Drink water. Hydration's key. Robinhood's fake GME price hit 4107 just now. Damn. Oh yeah, like overnight trading thing. No, listen, yeah, I like that you said fake. Good point, dearest Jimmy. Yeah, because it's like there is no overnight trading. There's a reason markets are only open from pre-markets, like what is it, like 4 or 5 a.m. Eastern time to post-markets to 8 p.m. Eastern time. And some say maybe one day we're gonna have it where all stocks are 24/7 trading. That just seems crazy to me. But yeah, like you said, it's fake. But at the same time, yesterday, it was a little bit of an indicator seeing it on Sunday night of what the price wound up starting to be today, right? And exciting, yeah, but at the same time, like you said, technically fake. But how does that even work? Like, can you theoretically go on right now and place a market order and buy a share at 41? Like, if you went in right now, like, I don't know if you know this, dearest Jamie or anyone else, like, if you went in right now and bought one share, would it execute at $41 a share and make you buy it? Or would it just execute like 4 a.m. tomorrow? Like, how does that even work? Like, I always kind of wondered about that. So, if anyone has insight, definitely let me know. I'm curious. But why are we on this particular mission? We'll never know. But I do know here today that the Black Knights will emerge victorious once again. Let's go, Captain Jimmy Wilder. Thanks for being here. I love that. You just got me fired up with that. I don't know why. I felt like I was reading like a movie script or something, or like a little intro scene. But popcorn, sticky floor, Brett. Thanks for being here, man. Yeah, no, AMC. It's gonna. The truth is, it's gonna run with GameStop, right? But again, if you held GameStop the past year, right? You look year over year, AMC is literally down 90%. GameStop year over year is technically up like 40 something percent at this given point in time, right? You can see it's up overall. Whereas look at AMC, just huge crash down. And really that whole, like when they issued Ape, right? Total bogus, completely screwed over their shareholders. Meanwhile, the executives, Adam Aaron, and the rest of those fraudsters just compensated themselves heavily and just dilute, dilute, dilute. No effort to cut costs. And sadly, ultimately, I really do think AMC is bound to go bankrupt, right? Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not even for another like 3 to 5 years, right? And the only way they're going to stay afloat is by just taking on more high interest debt that they're not going to be in any kind of position in the future to pay off unless something super dramatic changes, right? You have the equivalent of a Ryan Cohen type of individual pulling up, buying in, wiping out the board, restructuring the whole company, right? And then that would be very difficult, right? Because look how much debt AMC has at this point. Or they can just keep doing the same thing they've been doing, just dilute, 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 and just burn the shareholders, right? And that's the unfortunate reality of the way she goes. And 9 billion debt right there, right? It's rough. Insider ownership, 0.27. GME. And by the way, guys, like I'll show this real quick. Insider ownership, 12.38%. And also GameStop's current ratio, 2.11. What's AMC's? 0.61, right? So assets to liabilities. So GameStop's current ratio has gone up over the past few quarters. It's really improved things. Like, in case anyone wasn't aware, GameStop's really turned things around. So yes, like if you look at this first chart here, right? And by the way, if you guys don't follow me on Twitter/X, if you could at Tetron Invest, and also drop a like, guys, drop a like. Follow me on there because I'm always tweeting like when I'm live streaming and just putting out stuff throughout the day, mostly about GameStop, some macroeconomics. Once in a while, I'll throw a hockey tweet in there because I love hockey and sports and mostly hockey and football. But look at the bottom line numbers here, right? The yellow is the revenue, the blue is the net income. While revenue went down year over year, right? And that was the focus of the mainstream media in talking about the GameStop report when it came out, right? Like the full year report for 2023/Q4. Yes, revenue went down year over year. However, on the bottom line, there's a $320 million swing. So they actually turned a profit for the first time, I think, since it was it was either 2017 or 2019. I can't remember off the top of my head here, but several years, right? So yes, they did not make as much on the top line, but they slimmed down the business to operate efficiently. And also, they don't have any debt besides one tiny loan that's literally at an interest rate of like 1%. And that tiny loan is like 20 million. Like, yes, if you look on the Yahoo Finance website, you see, oh, yeah, like they have all this. Give me statistics. You see, like total debt rate 602 million, but that includes the lease liabilities. Like, that includes the stores, right? Every single store they have, they rent. They don't own the properties, right? And a lot of it is in shopping centers. That's a big part of it. So that gets accounted in here for, right? So even if you consider all the leases they currently have, they literally have enough cash equivalents, marketable securities to cover that. And that's also outlined here, where you can see like they have $3.92 per share if you add together all cash equivalents, marketable securities. And if you guys aren't aware, cash equivalents is right here. It consists of U.S. government bonds, notes, money market funds, cash deposits, commercial banks, highly rated direct short-term instruments that mature in 90 days or less. Marketable securities are made up of highly rated short-term government bonds and notes, as well as time deposits that mature in less than 1 year. So basically money they could easily access, right? That's paying a high interest rate, probably around 5% right now, given that's what the federal funds rate's at. So they're accumulating interest on this, right? And you can also see this in their earnings report where if you see like it'll be like interest expense, parentheses, income. It's parentheses, it's the income, right? Because it's like a negative number, it's added on. But going on a complete tangent here. And SG&A, and again, it's just for anyone that's not aware, SG&A year over year went down significantly, and you could kind of see it taking place throughout the year, quarter by quarter. But percentage-wise, SG&A was 25.1% of total revenue versus 28.4% of the same year prior. So I think also this number is going to improve once again going into the year coming up. I just want to also put that out there. But again, just my opinion. And you can see the margins overall. See, gross margin went up every single quarter, a little slight improvement, but most significantly, really the bottom line, the net margin. So from negative 11.5 to negative 4.1, negative 9.6 to negative 0.2, negative 8 to negative 0.3. So like just about 9% swings here, right? If you look at like the difference of the two. And then just a slight improvement in Q4, but look at the year as a whole. 5.4% swing on the bottom line, and ultimately a net profitable year. And again, I think they will be able to repeat that in 2024. Of course, time will tell, but that's just my opinion. So that's just for anyone that's not aware. Oh yeah, like it's just something people have just been hoping and praying. No, like the company's been executing a turnaround. Like they've also been working on something called CandyCon. See if I can get that pulled up here. So CandyCon, those of you that are not aware, like GameStop basically came out with its own private label brand. Right now, these are just for the Switch and as well as PC. And ideally, they'll come to PlayStation and Xbox in the future, but that'll have to see. But basically, you could buy like the base model, or you could buy like a pre-made one, right? But if you just buy the base model, and then you could buy like the faceplate, or this is like a little bit of everything, right? But you could basically build your own controller. Like this is if you want it all one theme, you could buy this like package. But let's say, okay, I want it with like a purple remote. I want a purple cover, and then I could do the green thumbsticks, and then the D-pad I could do red, right? So altogether, it'd be $52.96 for basically building a custom one. And then if you're buying a couple, right, like you could mix and match, or maybe you get bored of the purple faceplate. You're like, all right, like let me go with this retro shapes faceplate. This looks pretty dope. Or this toxic waste faceplate, bolt yellow. And also, what I'd like to see them do is maybe collaborate in some way. You know, you could get like someone said in a past stream I had, I think it was Scott. Shout out to him if you're here. Like you could have like themed one, right? Like you could have New York Yankees, You could have New York Rangers. You could have I don't know, like Los Angeles Dodgers, anything, right? You could have like they would obviously have to partner with them and then give them like the MLB, the NHL, whoever it is, right? Like some cut of it, but that's just another aspect of how they could expand upon this. And this is something I think they're going to do more of, right? Maybe not just this particular private label brand of Candy Con, but I also think they're going to get into some other private label items, right? Where it's maybe not controllers, but just stuff that they're basically selling in house, right? It's like an in house brand. Like, you know how Costco, their in-house brand is Kirkland, right? Like this, I'm pretty sure this is a Kirkland T-shirt. Kirkland is not a brand in itself. Kirkland is a Costco-owned brand. So when your brand, when it's your in-house brand, your margins are bigger. So that's just one way they can improve margins. And again, it's easier said than done. But I think if they do more things like this, they expand upon CandyCon, they make a few other private label brands, they could get back to growth, right? And I think they have to move more towards technology in terms of like whether it's like those that headsets, right? Like the Oculus, maybe not specifically that, but my point being like beyond gaming, right? Like becoming more of like a technology company that also, specializes in gaming. So we'll see how they evolve though, but I'm just saying the possibilities are endless because they've improved their balance sheet, right? Like that clown Dan Olson when he clipped me out of context, clipped a bunch of people out of context, threw people with nonsense opinions, like just threw very logical ones, I think, and a lot of nonsense ones all together to make this whole like story he wanted to tell, right? And he didn't interview anyone, right? If you go watch his video, he didn't interview anyone, right? He didn't get anyone's perspective. He told the story how he saw it. He clipped it how he wanted to, right? He didn't interview anybody and get any outside perspective. So I think that says a lot right there. But with that being said, he didn't even like he was saying like, oh yeah, like if they have bad balance sheet that means they're not turning around, or like basically just what people don't get in my opinion is that because their balance sheet is strong now, like they have all this cash, they paid off all the bad debt, right, a long time ago at this point when Ryan Cohen first got involved. Their balance sheet is strong, so now that they are turning a profit, right, let's get back to the GameStop Ultimate Canvas. By the way, this app is called Obsidian if you guys are interested. It's so great for note taking and just putting your ideas like in one big thing and links. You can even put like a direct website here, right? Like I could put it so like you saw it on the CandyCon one, there was like that website. It was like a live website article that you're able to just insert in here. So it's really good for research. But with them turning a profit on the bottom line, as you can see here and here, they're able to maintain a strong balance sheet. So even if they're not making a huge profit right now at this given point in time, or even next year, their balance sheet is strong, or they can keep just stacking the cash on the balance sheet, and they can ultimately either make an acquisition, they can spend to grow these private label brands, or they can basically look for opportunities to grow. But they can kind of float along right now because they're not going to take on high interest debt, and all their cash they can just earn a high amount of interest because it's a high interest rate environment. So companies that have strong balance sheets right now have held up very well, whereas any high debt companies have really started to struggle. And that's also where you saw like Bed Bath and Beyond. Like I'm not trying to like, oh, like you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not even trying to cause drama, but like when you just look at what happened with Bed Bath and Beyond, they had 1 billion in cash and they had like 5 billion in debt, right? Using like rough numbers. Instead of using that 1 billion in cash to pay off the high interest debt, and they were still net negative at that point, losing money, what do? They start buying back stock, and it's like, oh yeah, this is this great thing, right? That they're buying back these shares, but they basically burned up their entire cash supply, heading into a high interest rate environment with already debt that was high interest, and that ultimately is what bankrupted them. So had they saved that cash, really focused on cutting costs, maybe they would still be here today, right? And I think in some shape or form, private equity had to do with that. And I'll let you think what you want about that. And uh, Barantz talks about that a lot more. He's got a lot more information on that than I do, that's for sure, and definitely other people. But just all food for thought there, right? And just for anyone that thinks like, oh well, GameStop's completely dead, right? Or like it's only because of people buying and holding the stock that they're still around, right? I'm like, no, it's not. It's really not, right? Because people just buying and holding, like it wouldn't be like people just wouldn't be buying and holding too. And again, I can only speak for myself, but I don't think people would be buying and holding if this net revenue number went down year over year, right? If this went from negative 313 back down to 381, I think people would be like, what the heck? Like this is not a turnaround. So while it's a turnaround is slow and it's not like a plane just taking off. It's kind of like just turning an old pirate ship around when they had just like used the stars and used the sun, man the sails, right? Like there's no motor on the boat. Like it's just like a slow turnaround, right? But they just keep going in that right direction. But yeah, getting out of breath, guys. Getting out of breath. But let's see the let's see. Futures, Robinhood is tracking the customer's buy order. Sub as a boss. Thank you. I appreciate that answer. That makes sense. You face the market maker Citadel. They create a market, plus you have internal orders from other retail. Good point. Good point. They media articles are an attempt to scare new investors. Massey, I think that's a very good point as well. Isn't it daytime in Japan and Austria right now, or Australia right now? Do they trade the stocks now too? So the stock price could change, and this is what we see in Robinhood night hours. Yeah, I mean, I think that would make sense too. It's also a factor. Sorry, I literally forgot I asked you guys that, and I didn't even look back at the chat. I go on a complete rant. So, do apologize. Do apologize. If anyone knows or watches me, I'll just go on these rants. But really, I appreciate you guys so much. Can't thank you enough. If someone buys a stock on Robinhood right now, they will move the price higher, which naturally brings sellers in to neutralize their position. They will also skew the price into how index futures move. There are plenty of brokers in the UK that price indices this way. There are simpler. These are simpler though, as they can track indices that are open. They will hedge the FTSE with Dow or SP futures that are naturally correlated, as naturally correlated. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. Where it's like there's some merit to it, but at the same time, it's like it's not truly right. And that's kind of goes back to what I was saying like a while before, where I'm like, oh yeah, like GameStop was up to, you know, 36.90 at the close of like after hours trading, but I still take that with a grain of salt. Like to me, what matters is 9:30 a.m. tomorrow when the market opens, right? Because it's mainly on the New York Stock Exchange, and that's when the New York Stock Exchange updates, right? So I always just go back to focusing on that. But no, I appreciate that insight. Where it's like there is some merit to it, but at the same time, it's still, in a period of time where it's not truly like all shares trading. But I wouldn't doubt that there's, not only people on Robinhood trading it during those hours. I'll put it to you that way in some shape or form. But again, I'll be keeping a track of this Google Trends feature here. I'm definitely curious how this updates. I don't know if anyone has insight on that, or because this is level 8, right? And this is just, I don't know how they measure these levels versus 100 packed in. So according to this, right, we have about 10% of the search interest that we did in January 2021. But again, it's only Monday. I don't know how often this updates, how exactly it calculates, but just for some general perspective, I'll keep an eye on it. But yeah, the very last point I'll make here, I'm running out of breath, so I think I'll wrap it up, or I don't like to ramble too long. But definitely, guys, I'll be live again on Wednesday, so keep an eye out for that. And the Spaces call I'll be doing tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. But buying activity of traders with large short positions at GameStop. The blue is the total buy volume. The red is short seller buy volume. Very limited amount of short covering relative to the overall buying volume. So short covering is a buyer, right? Like a short seller is just a future buyer. So there was some short covering taking place going into January 2021, right? But look at the main point when it runs up, like right here, right? Like these few days, there's such a limited amount of short covering as it's going up. So it just shows you if it wasn't short covering, but there was still a ton of buy volume, what that means is it was FOMO, right? And again, you see this search interest. So, definitely a lot of people were going into it, and we do see that going on now. So that also makes me think like part of now is a gamma ramp, part of it is FOMO, and yeah, maybe some part of now is short covering, but I think there still could be a lot more short covering to go. That's all I'm saying. Or it's not like, oh yeah, like the shorts are all definitely closing right now. Like that's definitely what's happening at this exact moment of time, and how the prices rallied these past couple days. No, I don't think so. I think part of it is the options chain and making the markets and gamma, but then also part of it is you got Portnoy talking about it. You got Greg 56234, whatever his name is, on Twitter talking about it. You got Andrew Tate talking about it. You got mainstream media is suddenly talking all about it, right? Because they gotta get whatever views they can, whatever clicks they can these days. So definitely, this like the public sentiment is an aspect. So I don't think it's all just short covering going on right now. But definitely, guys, if you're ever bored or just curious, it's always good to look back at the SEC. It says staff report, equity options, market structure conditions in early 2021. Essentially, the GameStop report. That's what I think it's kind of known for, that name, but yeah, definitely some interesting stuff in here, and I won't go through it all right now, but it talks about the NSCC and what the DTC is, right? Those of you not familiar, The DTC is represented by Seed & Co. And then there's the NSCC, which is the DTC is Depository Trust Company. NSCC is National Securities Clearing Corporation. And National Securities Clearing Corporation operates something called the ACAT system. And the ACAT system, because everything's in the name of Seed & Co., basically lets you move the shares back and forth very easily. So if I transfer shares from Charles Schwab to Fidelity, boom, it could be done pretty quick because it's an ACAT transfer. They're both part of the NSCC, which is part of the DTC. So it's all in the name of Seed & Co. You're just changing like the locate, right? Oh, it's located at Charles Schwab for the benefit of Tetron. Oh, it's located at Fidelity for the benefit of Tetron, right? So it's very easy to move it in. But when you go from Fidelity to ComputerShare, for example, that's something that's called a non-ACAT transfer. They're taking it out of the name of Seed & Co. and directly registering it in your name. So like, yes, it's for your benefit, like when it's in a Fidelity account, right? Like it's something to the effect of, maybe not this specific language, Seed & Co., Fidelity for benefit of Tetron account number. And then also every single broker has like a DTC control number that they're also referenced to, right? When they use this ACAT system. Whereas if I'm going from that to ComputerShare, it just gets registered to Tetron, right? And then it's on the books of GameStop as a directly registered shares. And that goes back to when you used to, I know this is an Aaron Judge card, but this goes back to when you used to have a physical stock certificate. That's how it used to work, right? And when everything started going electronic, they go, oh, how can we make it easy? Let's create this thing called a depository trust company, right? And obviously, there's a lot more information between. Like it's not, it didn't get created that simply. There's a lot more details behind it, but that's the very quick explanation, I would say. So, if someone buys a stock in Robinhood right now, they'll move the price higher. Oh, I already read this. When Ken Griffin says he moves stocks to the price where he perceives them to be fundamental values, he's not joking. Dearest Jimmy, your words, not mine. But yeah, no, it's crazy the way the markets work, right? And I don't want to talk shit about like certain companies or individuals because I think I know how I feel and I think I know how a lot of other people feel, but I just think as a whole, you look at it like, wow, this is how the system works. Like, this is crazy. Of course, there's going to be people taking advantage of it when it's built like this. So, got Tetron talking about GameStop. DB, I don't know why I'm talking about GameStop. I thought we were all supposed to forget GameStop. How could I be talking GameStop? I forget GameStop, right? Forget GameStop. Forget GameStop. How many times do you think that article has been written or that headline's been out there, right? Probably so many. So many. I feel like I've seen it so many times, right? And even look, I showed this in the beginning of the stream. I'll show it one more time, then I'm actually going to wrap it up. You go to Yahoo Finance right now, look at the biggest article on the screen. GameStop surge is still a long way from 2021's frenzy, saying like, this is not January 2021, disregard, forget GameStop, right? And oh, Roaring Kitty's back. That's the only reason. Suddenly everyone's buying it on Wall Street Bets. Meanwhile, Wall Street Bets is suddenly talking about it again, whereas literally 1 week ago you weren't even allowed to talk about it on there, right? So that's just perspective in itself. So it's not. It's. I'm telling you, like people say, oh, this rally, like, oh yeah, suddenly everyone's just buying in, right? Like, oh yeah, just all these the Reddit armies buying. I'm like, no, yes, there's definitely FOMO going on right now, but it's from the Portnoys, it's from the Tates, it's from the random Twitter people that are just like big on there, right? The Gregs or whoever, like. Those are the people creating FOMO. It's not people like on Reddit just, oh, now's the perfect time to all start buying this exact day because of Roaring Kitty, right? No, that's not what it is. Like, that's not what it is. Don't get me wrong. I'm very excited he's back. We'll see if there's one more quick tweet maybe he put out since I've been yapping away here. No, not since that one that you guys were trying to like, look, refresh. Like he just tweeted and I wasn't pulling it up before. But yeah, no, it's not. It's not that, right? Like it's such a complicated system. It really is such a complicated system. But that's why I'm just documenting my journey of learning, and I appreciate you guys being with me along the way. And yeah, I think it was a pretty fun stream tonight. Nichushkin suspended, enters stage 3 of NHL PA Pro. Oh my gosh, he's one of the best players on Colorado. If I'm thinking of the right guy, and it's like round 2 of the playoffs. That's crazy. He's getting suspended right now. That's actually wild. I got to read about that after this. But this isn't a hockey stream, so we won't get into all that. But I don't know who you guys have winning the cup. I think the Oilers get it done this year. Although looking at the highlights from yesterday, I don't know. They didn't look that good, and Vancouver looks good, so I'm not so sure about that. But I think one of these 3 teams is going to win. Either the Oilers, the Stars, or the Panthers. Like the Panthers just look so good. I think the Bruins, it's crazy. Like everyone's like, oh yeah, they're such a good team. And you look at their regular season record, but you look at their lineup, and I'm like, I don't think they're that good. Like, I think the goalies really have bailed them out all year, and especially Swayman. Like, he's playing lights out this playoff, but you can see Florida just put so much pressure on him, and like now they've started to crack. So, of course, we'll see though. But that's just my hockey perspective. If you guys were curious, so market venue for overnight trading session allows trading within 20% of the reference price of 35.44. Orders priced outside of this band may be canceled. Robinhood. Gotcha. Appreciate that. Yeah, I got to read more about that too. LOL, they think Roaring Kitty is pushing a 6 billion move all the DRS accounts combined with what would have been an average of 25K today. Come on. Exactly. But the people, like I said earlier too, where they were like texting me like, "Oh, what's going on? Oh, suddenly everyone's buying it." I'm like, "No, like it's not that simple. Like don't just look at it like that. Like it's more complicated than that." I'm trying to tell them, but at the same time, like I'm working, I'm tweeting, trying to watch the stock, right? And I got people texting me, and like I'm not saying like, "Oh yeah, I'm so popular, like everyone's texting me" or something like that. I'm just saying like definitely I had some people like reach out to me today, um, like friends like that I just haven't like like I'm friends with. I don't talk to them all the time, and especially don't talk to them about stocks. Like, yo, what's going on with it? And like a couple coworkers like, yo, what's good with GameStop right now? Like I see it's trending again. What's going on? You're the GameStop guy. Tell me what's going on. Like, listen, you want the quick version or the long version? If you want the long version, come to the live stream tonight. You want the quick version? It's not what it seems. Put it to you that way. So, and yeah, just know, guys, know thyself. Please know thyself. Don't blindly follow anyone. Do what's best for you as an individual. That's so important. And just know there's going to be a lot of volatility the rest of this week. There's going to be a lot of media attention, a lot of people saying, doing all this, doing all that. It's this, it's that. It's going way up, it's going way down, right? Just be mentally prepared for it all. That's all I'm saying. And know what's best for you and know your plan as an individual. I think that's so important. But yeah, I think we'll leave it there for today. And like I said, tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, you guys can catch me on Twitter. I'll be doing, or X, I still call it Twitter, guys. I feel like it's always going to be Twitter to me, but I'll be doing a Spaces call. White Rabbit will be hosting. I'll be popping in there. So hopefully get to talk to some of you guys, just get other people's perspectives. I'm going to share some of my thoughts, but definitely want to hear other people's perspectives. That's always good. And then Wednesday, same time here, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, talking GameStop. So again, if you guys want to follow me on here, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Always appreciative of that. And follow me on Twitter because that's really I post my updates. Like each week at the start of the week, I'll post like my live stream schedule and just anything I'm up to or just kind of updates and how I'm going about things. So if you're curious about that, definitely follow me here. And on top of it, mostly though, sometimes my brain, I swear, moves faster in my mouth. Mondays and Wednesdays are my main days I try and do. Mondays and Wednesdays, 7:30 Eastern. Those are the one I'm pretty consistent with. But there are some weeks I can't exactly work that out, and I do try and do at least 2 streams a week. So sometimes I've done Monday, Tuesday, Monday, Thursday, Tuesday, Thursday. So um, next week, no, it's 2 weeks from now, where really in a couple weeks from now, my schedule's gonna be changing more. So you can kind of expect it to be that Monday, Wednesday, these next couple weeks. But going into the end of May and early June, I have some things going on, like family and friends and just a bunch of different stuff. So gonna be moving the schedule around a little bit, but just enjoy the ride, guys. Enjoy the ride. I love this journey. And as I put here, join me on my journey of continuous learning. That's what I'm here to do. Just keep learning. And I suggest you guys do the same. Just little by little, brick by brick. I say, GameStop's improving brick by brick, just like Tetron's improving brick by brick. Obviously in different aspects, but just chugging on along. So yeah, thanks again, guys. I hope everyone has a great night. Take care.